Good morning, dear children. Today we are going to start lesson number 11, that is verb voice. And dear children, it is very important chapter, so you all should be ready with page number 98. Let's see what is a voice first of all. Voice is the form of verb that tells us whether the subject of the sentence performs or receives the action. We know there is a verb in each and every sentence and it expresses an action. And voice tells us whether the subject performs the action or it receives the action. There are two voice. Voice is of two kinds. The first one is active voice and the other one is passive voice. We can see voice is of two kinds. The first one is active voice and another one is passive voice. Dear children, let us study both in detail. Now, dear children, let's see what is active voice and what is passive voice with the help of these examples. Let us see the first example. Rita bakes the birthday cake. What is the subject in this sentence? Rita is the subject. What is the verb? Bakes is the verb and that is in simple present tense. Bakes is a verb and that is in simple present tense. And dear children, here we can see action of baking is performed by whom? Action of baking is performed by Rita, that is the subject. Rita is the subject and this action of baking is performed by Rita. In this sentence, we can say the subject is performing the action. And dear children, we can see the object of the verb. What is the object of the verb? I have taught you the way of finding out the object by asking the question what or whom. Rita bakes what? The answer we get the birthday cake. Rita bakes what? The birthday cake. So, birthday cake is the object. Clear? So, dear children, in this sentence, as the subject performs the action, we say it is given in active voice. Here, it is active voice because action is directly done by the subject. So, in a simple way, we can say that when subject performs the action, it is active voice. The sentence. Now, dear children, look at the other example. The birthday cake is baked by Rita. Though we can see the meaning of both the sentences are similar, isn't it? Meaning of both the sentences are same. Let's see what is the difference. The birthday cake is baked by Rita. In this sentence, what is the subject? The birthday cake is the subject. The birthday cake is the subject. What is the verb? Is baked is a verb. What is the verb? Is baked is a verb. So, dear children, here the verb is in, it is the past participle form. In the past participle form, the verb is in past participle form. But if we see the birthday cake cannot, here the subject can perform the action of baking. The birthday cake can bake something? No. Here subject is not performing the action. Action of baking is not performed by the subject in this sentence, but somebody else has performed this action. So, dear children, it is actually here the birthday cake is baked by Rita. Who baked the cake? Rita. Rita has baked the cake and here the subject receives is the receiver of the action of baking. Somebody else baked the cake and the subject is being affected by it. The subject receives the action. Subject is the receiver of the action, not the performer of the action in this sentence. Subject is not performing the action. Somebody else performed the action and the subject receives the action of baking. Therefore, it is in passive voice. It is passive subject. It is not performing the action, it is receiving the action. So, it is passive subject. The doer of the action in this sentence is Rita. Who is performing the action? Rita is performing the action. So, dear children, in a simple way we can say when subject performs the action, it is in active voice, and when subject does not perform the action but it receives the action, we say it is in passive voice. Now, let's see the next topic, passive voice structure. Okay, dear children, before studying the structure of passive voice, let's see some more important points about this. We notice in the above sentences, in both the sentences, we can see that verb in the active voice takes a direct object. Here we can say in active voice, the verb is having a direct object. What is the object? Birthday cake is the object. While the verb in the passive voice does not have any direct object. Here we can see the birthday cake baked what or whom. We do not get any object here. Verbs in active voice can be transitive or intransitive. Verbs in active voice can be either transitive or intransitive. In active sentence, verb can be transitive. Transitive means verb which is having an object, and intransitive means which is not having an object. Let us understand this through the example. Here I will write the example on the board. Jack has read the new novel. Another sentence is Jack is sleeping. Jack is sleeping. Now, dear children, look at these two sentences. Jack has read the new novel. What is the subject? Jack is the subject. What is the verb? Has read. Here we can see that action of reading is performed by the subject. So, it is active sentence. It is clear to us, isn't it? Here action of reading is performed by the subject, and when subject performs the action, we say verb is in active voice. And let's find out the object. Jack has read what? New novel. It is the object. New novel is the object. So, dear children, the active voice, the active sentence, active voice, active verb can have the object. It can be a transitive verb. And let's see this example. Jack is the subject, is sleeping is the verb. Is there any object? Jack is sleeping, what or whom? There is no object. So, it means, and here action of sleeping is performed by the Jack, isn't it? Action of sleeping is performed by the subject. So, the verb is in active voice. Sentence is in active voice. And it is, in this case, we can see intransitive verbs also can be in active voice. Okay, so verbs in active voice can be either transitive or intransitive. In active voice, verb can be transitive or intransitive. Now, look at the next point. Only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice. Only transitive verbs can be changed into passive voice. Okay, and that we'll see later on how to change from active to passive. The rules we'll learn. There are certain rules for changing the sentence from active voice to passive voice. Now dear children, look at the board. Passive voice structure. What is the structure of passive voice? How to change from active to passive voice? We change the form of the verb, and this example is for sentence in present tense, when the sentence is in present tense. Dear children, if in active voice the verb is right, in passive voice it is written. Is written. Dear children, we use form of be verbs. Form of be verbs is, am, are. In present tense we use, according to the subject we use is, am or are plus past participle form, or the third form of the verb. And dear children, it is not compulsory all the time is, am, are we use. According to the tense of the sentence, we change the helping verbs. So that we'll see the table and then we'll learn it. Now, dear children, personal pronouns in passive construction. Personal pronouns change their form in the passive voice. When we change sentence from active voice to passive voice, the form of personal pronouns are also changed. I is changed to me, we is changed to us, he, him, she, her, they, them. And always remember, the personal pronoun in the second person you remains unchanged in both the voices. You remains unchanged in passive voice also. Now the next topic is agreement. The form of the be verb should be the form of the be verb used to form the passive construction must agree with the passive subject in the sentence. Already I told you, form of be verbs we use according to the subject. Let's see this through the example. Agreement. We know that there should be always subject and verb. Agreement. For example, he takes his dogs for a walk. He takes his dog for a walk. Dear children, here he is the subject, takes is a verb. Action of taking is performed by the subject. So the sentence is in active voice. The verb is in active voice. He takes his dogs for a walk. Now dear children, what is the object here? He takes what or whom? His dogs is a verb. So dear children, when we change from active to passive voice, the position of the object and the subject is interchanged. Object becomes the subject and the subject becomes the prepositional phrase. How? His dogs becomes the subject. His dogs. Now dear children, here object has taken the subject's place. So dogs is given in plural form. And here the verb is in present tense. Takes is in present tense. And when we change present tense sentence into passive voice, we use be form of verbs plus past participle form. Here be form of verbs in present tense are is, am, are. And here according to the subject, plural subject, plural verb. So the verb are is suitable here. This is called agreement. Verb should be according to the subject. His dogs are take. Its third form. Take, took, taken. Isn't it? His dogs are taken. His dogs are taken for a walk, it becomes the prepositional phrase. By he will be changed. The pronouns are getting changed. He will be changed to him. By him. The form of verbs we'll discuss in detail, beta.